their holy book, the Holy Qur'an. The fact that you choose the amazing Qur'an for your lecture of this evening was an astonishment to me when I received the kind invitation of the Islamic Information Center. But when I listened to you, I understood amply why you used this amazing terminology to describe the Holy Qur'an. My comment is this: the Holy Book of Islam has got its own characteristic that makes it distinct from previous holy books in which we also believe. This characteristic consists in the fact that the Holy Book is not only the faith of Muslims, but also the proof of the authenticity and the truthfulness of this Holy Book being the revelation of Allah. And this proof consists in its turn in two main factors. The first is its miraculous power of expressing meanings in Arabic language, the linguistic power of Qur'an. And this, in history and in the time of revelation, was the main proof, the main miracle, the main challenge that Muhammad used against non-believers to try to imitate the linguistic power of expression. But in modern ages, this linguistic power has been much reduced because of the simple fact that Islam has been embraced by non-Arabs. Even nowadays, Arabs do not really master their own languages as they did 14 centuries ago, except for specialists. That's why time has come for the second main proof of authenticity of the Holy Qur'an, the scientific authenticity of the Holy Qur'an. Preachers until now have been putting the accent on the linguistic power and conviction of the Holy Book. But in modern ages, this age we call scientific age, age of science, time has come to put the stress on the facts, scientific facts that have been revealed 14 centuries ago and were not known not only by Messenger Muhammad ﷺ, but also by the whole humanity. The human knowledge fell very short of the facts included in the Holy Qur'an. Nowadays, some of these facts have been known to us, and this is a promise given in the Holy Qur'an itself. Allah said in His Holy Book that we will show them our ayat, our proofs, in all the horizons, meaning horizons of science, until they know that this is the true revelation by God. So I wanted Mr. Missionary Abdul Ahad Omar to place you in your right place. You represent the Muslim missionaries who preach Islam to modern ages, who reveals the wonders, the proofs of the Holy Book from this point of view of science, of quiet discussion between minds and arguments. That's why I wish to make this comment to congratulate you and to ask you to go along with your endeavor, for which we are indebted to
I would just remind me of a couple of things to mention. The Qur'an is also often called by the description of Majid, and Majid is not that far from what you might say is amazing. I mean, it is glorious, it is surprising, and the revelation too is spoken of in one ayah. It says to the Prophet, when it is revealed to you, it says Ajibta. It says, you marvel, you're amazed. They ridicule, but you're amazed. So the thought is there. I'd also stress what you may yet find too is that the linguistics is itself today a science. So the surprising aspects of the linguistics are still a scientific thing to point out to people, because the Arabic language today is a problem for people because it hasn't changed in all these centuries. It's borrowed a lot of words from someplace, but the Arabic is still preserved, due largely, I suppose, to the Qur'an. But that in itself is a problem for the linguist. No other language does that. It evolves in time. So that the linguistics was the second thing that I noticed in the Qur'an that surprised me so much. Because I read a translation, probably one of the worst translations there is, of the Qur'an. But then in having discussions with Muslims, they'd be talking about this or that, and they'd say, well, you know, the Qur'an says such and such. And I'd be so frustrated. I think, I read the translation. I don't remember that. So they'd show me in the Arabic, and you'd realize that the translation missed this point and that point. So I realized right away, in order to get the full meaning, you've at least got to examine the original. And so much is missing very often in translations. And some really remarkable things. They are virtually, well, it'll take me too far off the track, but that's what led to a lot of interesting developments. You had questions there? It's asking for some elaboration on where this wall of Dhul-Qarnayn is. Is it true that the Yajuj are the Russians? Not specifically, unless you loosely mean by Russians anybody who lives north of a certain point. Then it may well be this is Yajuj and Majuj. But Derbent is in the Soviet Union, but not in the Russian part of the Soviet Union. It's in the south part. And in fact, there are two cities called Derbent, but where you find the so-called Wall of Alexander is the description given in the Qur'an. Now, it's called Alexander's Wall because it used to be believed that Alexander the Great built it. That's now been disproved. Alexander didn't have anything to do with that wall. A lot of Muslims will tell you Dhul-Qarnayn is Alexander the Great. It seems very doubtful, but maybe, but it seems doubtful. In any case, history will not now support that Alexander built Alexander's Wall, but it is the description according to the Qur'an, Derbent. Probably you could find in some encyclopedia under Alexander or Derbent more information about that. What is the best English translation of the Qur'an? Well, what I usually tell people to do is get as many as you can. Because if you don't know the Arabic, at least when you read, compare how the translations are of the same verse. And if each author translates the verse just about the same, then the chance is you're getting most of the meaning out of it. But if they have different translations for the same verse, then there must be a difficulty. Then you should inquire from someone who knows what is the problem. Why do they have trouble with this Arabic? So if you have a lot of translations to compare, you can make some progress this way. The nicest reading one in English now is probably by Arbery. It's called The Qur'an Interpreted by Arthur J. Arbery. There's one done by Thomas Irving, which is just now coming into print. He spent 25 years translating the Qur'an into English. He spent 1 year on one word. He wanted to be so careful. So I would recommend that. I've seen the manuscript of it. And there's various others around. But as I say, your best bet is to get as many as you can and compare. Did you learn Arabic before reading the Qur'an and so on? Well, that's what I was just explaining. I read a terrible English translation.